Hey, what's up guys? Ataraxia, welcome back to more Fate Hollow Ataraxia. Last time we did a few, last time I actually left off with Caster, and Kuzuki and Fujine, but it explored how Kuzuki is as a person and his feelings, towards everything. And we got to see Lancer as, you know, a waiter, which was interesting. But the main bit was Kuzuki, which it was rather interesting to see, honestly. But yeah, we didn't do anything super story related, I don't believe. Yeah. So let's continue where we left off. Okay, so I guess to see everything's a different day, but yeah, let's do this writer bit. See what she's up to, you know? Oh, there's two things. Okay. I'm assuming you're supposed to do the Holy Grail War one first, since it's... Yeah, I'm gonna assume so, so yes, do that. Oh. Okay, it says we've already done it, but I'm gonna do it anyway, because I don't remember this. I'm at the door to Ryder's room. I don't like this. It's probably gonna be something added onto the end of it, I assume. I couldn't ask in the morning since the opportunity didn't present itself. It should be a little easier to get to get a serious conversation, serious face-to-face conversation flowing at this hour.
Oi, Ryder, 話があるんだけど。
It sounds so loud compared to usual. Maybe, I don't know. I speak out as I slide the door open. We'll chat for a bit, then depending on how it goes, I'll try asking you about her real intentions. Uh-huh.
そうですね。正直に言ってしまえば、桜に危険が及ばなければそれでいい。仮に聖杯戦争が本格化し、町が崩壊したところで、私は何も。
Okay, yeah, I briefly remember. What's the right term? Yeah, I sort of remember this bit. Yeah, but it said there was something new, so I assume there's something at the end of this that's new. So, not having Sakura around turned out to be a plus. She speaks her mind calmly and with no reservations. On a second thought, that's definitely a minus. The intensity of her reply sends shivers down my spine. Yeah.
そうか。なんだ。万が一にもありえないんだけど、仮に桜が戦う気になったら、その時点で戦闘開始ってことかな。
桜が勝利を望むのであれば、そうなります。私は私のできる範囲で、今度こそ聖杯戦争を勝ち抜くでしょう。学園を血に染めたように、キャスターを上回る規模でブラッドフォートを展開させる覚悟もある。
Yeah, don't do that, please.
シロ、それを阻むというのであれば、あなたが相手でも容赦はしません。
Okay. This is problematic. If, although it's a really big if, by a stroke of really bad luck, Sakura decides to make such a decision, I can't tell Ryder that I won't go against her. Painful as it is. Yeah. If Sakura were to lose her way, then I'll have no choice but to resist. Ryder knows this full well, so she didn't ask me to ally with Sakura.
いっか。そんなもしもの話は置いておいて。しかし意外だな。ライダーはもっと受動的な性格だと思ってた。
I did not expect to hear that she would sacrifice the whole town's population. I mean, I'm sure she doesn't want to. like as a matter of like want, but like she's not against it, I suppose. The image of Ryder that I got over the last 6 months is that of a woman who has many interests, but simply doesn't act on most of them. Yeah.
シローの推測は正しいと思います。私は自分から行動することには慣れていませんから。けれど機会がそちらから訪れるのなら話は別です。戦いになるのなら全力を尽くします。
Yep.
殺す時は殺す。容赦なく残酷に二度と蘇らないよう、二度と私に挑むなどと思わないよう。
Yep. I'm still waiting for the new bit. I like again, I vaguely remember all of this so far.
ライダー。
It feels as if my body is about to literally freeze up. Her mystic eyes behind her glasses, though suppressed, paralyzed my extremities.
でもそれは喧嘩を売られた時の話だろ。いや、仮にさくらが戦う気になってもさくらはそんな方法は許さない。違うか。
でしょうね。けれど私とさくらの方針は根本が異なります。セイバーも言っていたでしょう。その時になれば私は手段を選ばないと。否定はしません。私はセイバーのように高潔な魂は持っていない。戦いになれば人格を変貌させ、思うままに人を殺して回るでしょう。
Don't blame you. I get an unpleasant feeling of deja vu. Yeah. Ryder's self-deprecating reply. I mean, with her backstory, it's not really surprising that she would be willing to let loose like that. Blends together with an ominous image.
違う。そんなことはない、ライダー。半年も同じ家で暮らしたんだぞ。ライダーがどんな人間かは嫌でも感じ取れる。お前、あんたがあんなのと同じだなんて言わせない。
Well, sure. Impressions of people aren't always all that. It's because of my dizziness. Like an idiot, I let my feelings flare up in a way that's very unlike me.
シロー、いい機会です。一つ忠告しておきましょう。
Yeah?
私は怪物です。あなたたちが伝え聞いた通りの人々に恐れられた魔物なのです。この手は血に汚れている。かつて私は神殿で多くの勇者に挑まれ、例外なく食い尽くした。こうして今人の姿をしているからといってそれを否定することはできません。
Yep, that's fair.
メドゥーサの伝説は知ってる。けどあれは向こうからやってきたもんだろ。ライダーはいつだって襲われる側だったじゃないか。
Yes and well, sort of, Shiro. It wasn't Ryder's fault that she was turned into an ugly monster, that she was hunted by humans. The female monster by the name of Medusa has always been a victim in the end.
その証拠に今ここにいるライダーは人を襲わない。さくらを大事に思ってくれて、俺たちにだって気を使ってくれるちゃんとした人間だ。
それは私が英霊としてのメドゥーサだからです。サーバント、いえ、英霊は英雄の全盛期の姿で召喚されます。今ここにいる私はメドゥーサと呼ばれたものが人の形をしていた頃の私に過ぎません。 ですがメドゥーサである以上怪物に変貌する側面もあるのです。私はあなたが思い描く人間ではない。それは文字通りの怪物で醜悪に変貌し際限なく増大した人間にとっての絶対悪と呼ばれるものです。
That's not... Even I've thought about it before. The difference between the female monster in Greek mythology and Ryder's present form. I simply assumed that the myth was wrong. But such naive thoughts are no consolation in the face of this curse.
私は殺しました。殺すたびに変わっていった。私の名が強大になればなるほど挑んでくる人間の数は増えていく。人と魔と英雄は循環する勢力です。人間は魔にはかなわない。何千の兵隊を差し向けようが人である限り怪物には太刀打ちできない。
The food chain between humans, demons, and heroes. Humans cannot win against demons. Demons are defeated by heroes. And heroes are regulated by humans. Thanks to that rule, the now transformed monster Medusa endlessly murdered humans to grow stronger, only to be sacrificed to one lone hero.
それが私の正体です、シロ。私のオリジナルになる存在がどのような姿かあなたは知らない。この私が神殿に閉じこもり、どれほどの歳月と勇者を飲み込んでどんなものに変貌してしまうかなどあなたにはわからない。私にだってこの後私がどんな怪物になるか考えることさえできないのですから。
No matter how much I try to overlook it, her real self is that of a monster, Ryder explains matter-of-factly. I have neither the right nor power to deny that.
なんだってこんな時に言うんだ。
So you'll have no mercy if she does decide to fight you? I don't...
俺はライダーをそんな風に見たことはないし、これからだって変わらない。ただセイバーと同じように。
I thought I'd tell her not to fight needlessly from now on. Hearing the confession it led to, I fully regret it.
情けない。俺にはライダーにそんなことをするなって言うことしかできない。
いいえ、私も意地が悪かった。どうしてか今のシロに話して困らせたいと思ったのです。
Ryder, why you do this?
けれどこれでよかった。あなたが日々私に抱いてくれる間違いは嬉しくもあり辛くもあった。だからもしもの時のためにきちんと知っておいてほしかったのです。
See if he'd still be your friend. Understandable. I no longer sense the dark shadow that had lingered up until now. Ryder, back to her usual self, quickly bows her head.
迷惑をかけてすみません。ですが忘れないでください、シロ。
In her voice, I can sense a faint, pleading tone.
わかった。その時は俺も覚悟を決める。けどそれはもしもの話だ。さくらがライダーのマスターである限り決してその時なんて来ないよ。
We hope. I wonder how much of her feelings I understood. At the very least, I look her straight in the eye and leave the room. The violet snake laps up the blood. Okay, this is the new bit then. Okay. 3 a.m. Tonight, another one-sided slaughter has begun. As always, the stage is empty. Miyama's residents are fast asleep in their homes. The means change from one moment to the next. Skewered by enormous nail-like daggers. Oh no. Has she been going out killing people? Hanged from the streetlights. Crushed by coiling chains. Occasionally, she goes too far and tears them to pieces. On a whim, she catches one in her hand and crushes its head. I hope she's killing those shadow beasts and not people. But there are a great variety of methods. Emulating a comic she recently read, she lifts a large vehicle and flattens them beneath it. Oh, that's good. That's good. By chance, there just happened to be one at a nearby construction site. Or is this a flashback to during the actual war? While stopping to catch her breath, she considers whether to head back or keep going. Okay, no, it's in the now. Her objective, if she remembers correctly, is to investigate this anomaly. What just fell? Okay, I don't know. The restarted Holy Grail War. In order to seek out the cause behind it, she's been running rampant through the streets at night. Her efforts yield some limited success. Another servant had been keeping watch in Shinto, but has never found any clues. Definitely not referring to Caster, because Caster's like pretty. I assume she means Archer then, or Lancer. One of those two. However, there's one major difference between her and the other servants. The monsters prowling the city at night. No one should have noticed them until the final day, but she had perceived them right from the start. To root out whatever was behind them, she would sneak out of the house by herself and continue her investigation one corpse at a time. There's no particular emotion driving her. When doing something out of no special interest, her body moves on its own. She becomes a machine without feeling, carrying out a predetermined task. Thus, she finds these moonlit hunts neither intriguing nor tedious, instead classifying it as an ordinary chore. A fruitless, unending endeavor. A task neither boring nor exciting. She will attempt it again and again until it yields results. Nevertheless, since when did the hunt itself become the anomaly? She wondered. Ryder, are you? Okay. She controls her ragged breathing. Her self-appointed duty was completed after about half an hour. No, it was more like she couldn't help but complete it. No matter how much she wants to investigate, there's no material left. A red sea of carnage. She cannot find anything to distinguish from that. There's nothing left to analyze. She needs to examine each of her prey diligently, down to their eye sockets. But there are none left. Right, are you? She's definitely not okay. She controls her ragged breathing. Though indeed monsters, they are little more than trash when up against her. A mere 1 or 200 wouldn't even serve as a warm-up. Ryder, what's going on? And yet, she controls her ragged breathing. Indeed, letting out what seems like pained gasps, she decides to continue the investigation. One more. I'll just check one more. Persuading herself of this, she jumps to the next hunting ground. There's a horde of roughly 100 monsters. After examining tens of thousands of them, she knew that answers would not be found here. And yet, she continues with the massacre in the name of research. Without feeling, she mechanically bathes in blood. Her breathing begins to quicken again. One more. I just want to examine one more. There's nothing wrong with that. After all, the only ones dying are monsters. There are countless more to kill, and this is something she had decided to do. So she doesn't feel there's any problem or meaning in what she's doing. After all, they're the bad ones. Yeah, she is definitely not okay. I feel like this is not going a good place. If they didn't want to be killed, then they shouldn't have appeared. And yet they gush out in huge numbers like insects, forcing her to take them on. She wants to be left alone, but she has no choice other than to oppose them. That's right. In the very beginning, she really didn't want to do this. But there are other things that are more important. That's why she kept to her role. Still, because it was just too unpleasant, she decided to become something unlike a living creature when she worked. A simple trap that kills people.
Medusa? どこに行ったの？もう戻ってくる時間でしょ？
She heard that after one of her countless tasks.
ほら、早く出てきなさい。私が素敵な贈り物をいただいたのよ。今日は特別にあなたにも分けてあげるわ。
I feel like that's a trick by her sister. As always, she became a trap for the humans that tried to take away her sisters by force.
嫌な匂いね。メドゥーサ、そこにいるの？
They weren't petrified. Those bodies were.
メドゥーサ。
Ripped apart.
あなた、そこで何をしているの？
The hunched figure, slurping, flinched. I don't want to remember. Back then, her sister's eyes, which always radiated with joy, turned stark white with fear towards her. The feast in the name of her investigation continues. Each time she plays this part, her body grows more accustomed to its role. Her ferocity grows without end. These monsters, while stronger than humans, could never touch her. They're fodder, worthy only to be crushed underfoot. She feels her transmission shift, gear by gear. From low to middle, middle to high. The only issue, if any, is that there is no limit to her gearbox. Meaning, the question is whether her chassis can withstand the ever-increasing RPM. Why has she become so immersed in her role? It must be because the enemy is so weak and the setting so ideal that she's given such opportunity to this task despite itself. Or such priority, not opportunity. Blah, blah, she thinks. After all, the town is empty. The people vanished at the stroke of midnight. Perhaps they were all killed by the monsters. Or perhaps they never existed to begin with. It must be the latter. Those monsters are things that hunt down humans, but not once has she seen them kill anyone. They only act against those that are the same as them. These monsters only feel interest or hatred towards their fellow monsters. So why do they attack Shiro? And they also attack Avenger. Huh? Hence, she's taken by surprise. With the monsters present, she thought there wouldn't be any people around. So, when a young woman appears, wandering aimlessly into the park, though she knew it was human with a single glance. Medusa, no. Tell me you didn't. She slices through the woman without any hesitation. Oh, Ryder. What have you done? Her regret and confusion fade immediately. This was always a ghost town. So what if a human wandered in by mistake? Even if she didn't kill her, the monsters surely would have. So it's fine. No. That was a trivial, inconsequential mistake that won't happen again, she thinks with a sigh. Oh, no, no, no.
よくはないわ。あなたがどのような生き物で、これがどのような状況であろうとも。
How are you not dead?
あなたは人を殺したのよ。
The dead woman's mouth proclaims her sin with a voice like a song. She stands up. Blood pours out from the open wound. She clutches her throat. Her ragged breaths beg for oxygen. The sight makes her dizzy with vertigo. Ah, what a sweet smell. The delicious red essence of life which she couldn't find no matter where she looked, or how many monsters she killed.
こらえが効かないのね。我慢できないのなら、どうぞ好きにして結構よ。だって、そうしたくて真っ先に人間である私に襲いかかったのでしょ。
That voice pierces her heart. That's right. There's still a flood of monsters. And yet, she ignored those which are her objects of investigation and hurled her dagger at the girl. She shakes her head in denial. Her dirty hair sways like snakes. Desperately, she objects, claiming it was an accident, completely outside of her duty.
別の役割。あなたも異常を解明したいというの。大した疑問ね。あなたはこれっぽっちも町のことなんて考えていないくせに。
Oh no. She's pushing her buttons. Her heart is sliced through, its contents exposed. That's right. She doesn't give a damn about the peace of this city. This investigation is carried out only for the sake of her master.
ああ、立派なサーバントね。けど、これは本当に彼女のためになるのかしら。
Okay, even I'm questioning why Ryder's doing this now. The air turns to poison. The woman approaches her step by step. Not with her legs, but her words. Approaching not her body, but her heart. She's trying to knock down the last pillar remaining in her broken self.
何日も繰り返して、いい加減疲れたでしょ。ここで楽にしてあげる。正直、見ている私も飽き飽きしてきたところだし。
Okay, that's good. I think, probably. She throws her dagger towards the flapping lips. Her aim is perfect. It skewers the girl's tongue and splatters even more of her blood. But even then...
認めなさい、メドゥーサ。あなたは、本当は恨んでいる。
A grudge against humans.
あなたは、本当は楽しんでいる。
Enjoying killing people. Oh my goodness. That is scary. Hey, Tyrant.
あなたは、単に。
Don't need a reason at all. Are we gonna actually have to fight Ryder at some point during this? That would be interesting.
大切だという彼女以上に、こっちの方が大切なのよ。
The girl is still standing. How? Well, I guess she's used to being skewered from the inside by demon possessions stuff, so yeah. The purple snakes are gradually blackened by her gushing blood.
機械に徹したところで奪った命の重さは変わらない。目を伏せたところで亡くなった命は消え去らない。蓋を閉めたまま生きていたらいつか自分の中身さえ間違えてしまう。
I really don't like what this is setting up. It feels like nothing good can come from this. She's an eyesore. No matter who this human is, she's just an eyesore. So she kills her until she shuts up. She cuts open the girl's warm stomach and tears out the entrails. That's gross. She almost shouts out in joy. More than any human she had laid hands on before. Taking out her anger on this girl. Feels so good. It's good for you, Ryder. Good for you. She continues to mutilate the girl's body from the stomach outwards. Until only the head is left. Please don't say she becomes a talking head. That would be so gross. Surely the chatter will stop now. Relief gushes through her body. And just when she feels a slight tinge of regret that she can't kill anymore.
これで理解できたでしょ。あなたはあなたにふさわしい場所に戻りなさい。
at last, she realizes her true feelings. She has an unendurable desire to kill humans. Oh no, Fuck. Jesus, man. Please don't say we have to fight. Shiro has to fight Ryder. That would suck so bad. Once upon a time, there was a princess. So yeah. Which, I guess you can't exactly blame her, I suppose. But, it's still kinda fucked. Once upon a time, there was a princess. One day, the people who had loved the princess started hating her, and they sent her off to an island far, far away. Compared to her glorious life up until then, the island was very empty. Frightened by the people who had gotten angry at her without reason, the princess prayed that no one would come to the island. Still, she was very, very lonely. She wept and wondered what she'd done wrong.
メドゥーサは一人になるとすぐ泣き出すでしょ。私たちの親族としてそんな恥さらしは許しません。
After a short time, her elder sisters arrived at the island.
私はメデューサなんてどうでもいいんだけど、まあ召使いは必要だし。
Her sisters are so just not good. I want to use another word, but how wonderful. Although they were still loved by all, the princess's sisters moved there for her sake. Yeah, sure. The princess wasn't lonely anymore. Although the island still had nothing, she was happy because her sisters were there with her. The only thing left to fear were humans. Kill the monster! With great courage, they came to chase the princess away. Yeah... And... even though she has every right not to. But unfortunately she does. But I mean... it's so weird. Because, like, they did... move there with her... for a reason, right? Other than just have a servant? I would hope. But, I don't know, everything seen so far, it doesn't seem that way. She could have borne it if that had been all. But then the people began to point their swords to her two sisters. To protect her sisters, the princess decided to take revenge. How wonderful. Yes, this time she could just do to the humans as they had done to her. She killed many humans. Yeah, definitely looks that way. After all, even if she tried to escape, the princess had nowhere to go but the island. I don't want anybody to come. I don't want anybody to come. She'd always wanted to be left alone, in peace, with her sisters, but...
やめなさい、メデューサ。挑みに来た人間たちが命を落とすのは自業自得でしょ。けれど、それを娯楽にしてはいけないわ。
Yeah, about that. Yet they still came, one after another. Since there was no end to them, she started experimenting with new ways to eliminate them more quickly. When the trap she had devised proved effective, She found it a tad funny.
あなたの魔眼は戒めるためのもの。決して恐怖を与えるものではないのです。
But it was only right that those who'd done nothing but scold the princess thus far should come to fear her as well.
それを口にするのはやめなさい。私が近頃のあなたは恐ろしいと怯えているわ。
No matter how infamous and fearsome she became, the humans kept approaching with boundless ferocity. Sisters continued to scold the princess. The princess felt too ashamed to show her body that had changed shape a little. And she left the sisters she once dearly loved. In the end, she was alone again. Sad and lonely, she hungered for new sacrifices. Come to think of it, in the beginning, okay. We were the sacrifices, she laughed, bathed in red. That's right. She swings her daggers with delight. Cackling with scorn, she tramples them beneath her. Without rest or respite, she continues running as if fleeing something. Someone else other than Karin's gonna spot her, aren't they? I feel it. She's gonna kill someone that she's actually gonna regret killing. Ayako, maybe? Shiro? She feels giddy with each one she crushes. Giddy with disgust. Giddy with amusement. Before long, her captivation intensifies into wild passion. Before she realizes it, she was butchering the monsters in a frenzy. She doesn't want to think about anything, so she can't help but let her primal instincts take over and enjoy the hunt. The night continues. The slaughter continues. There are no living humans in the city at night. The only ones roaming about are the monsters. And she is broken. The more she kills, the heavier her body grows. The more she crushes, the more she forgets her own words. In a word, she's broken. Oh boy. Suddenly, she lowers her eyes. Her body's beginning to change, just like that time. She doesn't scream. Her boiling head cools at an impossible speed. Ah, of course this happened. There's no time for lamentations or ridicule. In that brief moment of absent-mindedness, she is stabbed without mercy. Monsters surround the wounded beast. She became a monster, so they started fighting back. The remains of her humanity are on the verge of death. Impaled by multiple claws, nothing is left of her body below her chest. She's been cut into fine pieces. What remains of the blackened monster can only last a few minutes more. Through her ragged breath, she looks at her bloodied palms. Deep crimson red. She turns her claws, barely resembling human hands, to the monsters converging upon her. This corpse can still fight back. The creatures meekly decide to observe their new brethren as she dies out. Even breathing is difficult. Though she's already dying, her body continues to transform. Surely it won't stop even if she dies. After what is left of the woman stops breathing, she'll disappear and be reborn as a monstrous anti-hero, with no trace of her original form.
何？
She murmurs. Being still able to utter human words feels like some kind of lingering attachment, and it irritates her.
分かりきったこと。
Dimly, she looks at her deforming hands. She's known all along. She confessed it to him as well. That her form was only temporary. That her true nature was that of a hideous monster. She was destined for ruin. From the moment she consumed human blood, her end had been determined. Day by day she grew. First her body crumpled, then her heart, and finally, her very being decayed. And all she ever wanted was to become stronger in order to protect her sisters. Medusa doesn't just qualify. Yeah. Like, 'cause she could. I mean, how do I put it? She could have been a caster, couldn't she? Technically, because like she's obviously proficient. Like she literally teaches Sakura like how to do things. So Alright, I assume that's what you mean, is that she could have been a caster class. I can't really think of anything else. Okay. But in the end, even her sisters were nothing more than nuisances intruding upon her lair. Oh, she could have been a berserker. That would make sense. Maybe. The end of that chapter is unknown to her. At the time, she had neither eyes, nor nose, nor mouth. She had become a world that only crushed its prey. Close. She could have been an Avenger, right? That would make sense. Because she would hold a grudge. Because she was demonized like Avenger was. And basically took on people's hate. So Avenger would make sense, too. Like, not quite to the same level as, well... Actually, maybe even beyond what Ongermainu's was, because... Like, she had all of Greece hating her. He had a small village community. So, no, that had been bounced me by the monster in the first place. It had nothing to do with her before she changed. So it shouldn't be painful, but... Did she kill her sisters? That must have been it, she thought. And at that thought, she feels a sudden urge to gouge out her eyes.
なんて愚かな妹でしょう。
New sacrifices appear before the monster of their own accord. Joining hands, they still their trembling legs and look up at the completely disfigured monster.
いえ、なんて愚かな姉妹でしょう。ここまで守ってもらう気はなかったのだけど、あなたがあんまりにも楽しそうだったから、つい甘えてしまったのね。
Said the eldest sister Steno in a gentle voice. Lovingly like always, she smiles at the monster.
それは私だけの話よ。私は諦めが早いから捨て鉢になってたけど、私は永遠に純潔を守るつもりだったわ。
Why bring up your chastity? Grumbled the second sister Uriel. She curses and insults her monstrous sibling, but at times she looks at the she-beast with true sadness.
まあ素敵。じゃあ満足よね、エウリアレ。これで最後まで純潔だったわ、私たち。
Steno grasps her sister's hands, her own hands, tightly, seeking comfort from their fear, never abandoning that which they hold dear.
そうね。私は嫌だけど、そうしないとあんまりにもこの子がバカみたいだし、それぐらいは意義があったものにしてあげないと。
The sacrifices think this to themselves. They were the ones who hated humans, and their youngest sister had never borne men any ill will, yet it had come to this. The two sisters were loved by men, and were destined to be violated by them day after day. The elder accepted it as fate, while the younger despised it, but both of them had given up. Yet the youngest sister protected them until the end.
あなたは私たちを守った。けれど、私たちを守ったメドゥーサはもういない。なら、守られていた私たちも同じようになくなりましょう。
That which was lost shall never return. Steno, who had dreamed that the three of them would live forever on the island far away, closes her eyes and raises her head.
もう目の前か。じゃあね。さようなら、かわいいメデューサ。
See, why couldn't they have been this nice to her when she was still human-esque?
最後だから口を滑らせてしまうけど、憧れていたのは私たちの方だったのよ。
So jealousy then. I guess is the answer to my question. Jealousy. The days that have gone by shall never return. Uriel, who had believed that one day the three of them would escape the rustic temple and return home, smiles like she used to and raises her head. Stop. Stop, stop, stop! Countless snakes consume both sacrifices. Without joy, without sadness. As though crushing ants, the monster grinds the sisters to a pulp. In this way, the immortal girls, retaining their form as beautiful sisters to the very end, while still alive, were absorbed into the monster. Consumed without a trace left behind, they became the monster's flesh and blood, and it continued to thrive. Thus became of the three Gorgon sisters. Thus the three goddesses banished to the shapeless isle became the monsters the people had rumored them to be. What did she love? What did she want? She had so little that was precious to her, and that she swore to protect them no matter what. And yet, now that she's heading to her death, well, she's being transformed. She can't even recall it. She can't stop the transformation. At this rate, she'll turn into a monster and disappear. Everything will end with that. From now on, she'll be summoned as a monster, not to protect humans, but to annihilate them. She can't stop the transformation. There's nothing to be done. Nothing to care about. The swarm of creatures is like the band at a festival. They reveled with hatred in the birth of a new monster. Her consciousness wanes. She has a feeling that there's still something left to do, yet she can't quite seem to place it. As her life comes to a close, she quietly shuts her eyes. Avenger? She noticed an unfamiliar presence peering at her.
あれ俺が見えるの
Apparently. I mean, she's become a monster, so I guess, yeah.
そうか。あんたも怪物になっちまったんだな。
Though it feels like she's never heard its voice before. The laughter sounds all too familiar. A smirking grin and sneering eyes. It irritates her considerably. Her sadistic heart starts to pound again. If her body was strong, she would have leaped forward and plucked its head right off.
ああ、いや、ちょい違うか。あんたはそんなすっきりしたもんじゃない。あんた、自分が何者か自覚はある？
What are you aware? She isn't prepared for it, but she accepts it as truth. This heroic spirit's seat would no longer be Medusa's, but that of the monstrous Gorgon. Well, that's not good. That is not good at all.
なるほど。潔い。けど、あんたは怪物の定義を知らなそうだな。わかってるか？ それは生きるために人を襲うんじゃなく、人を襲うために生きる生き物だ。人間社会を真っ向に端から端まで否定する殺戮機構。ただいるだけで害悪になる毒。それが怪物ってもんなんだが、自分だって言い切れる？
She already knows that. From now on, she will embody that concept over and over again.
そんなの今さら。
Since the beginning, she's been a monster. A monster camouflaged in human intellect and appearance. If she would someday become such a monster, then her true nature must be the same. That's why it doesn't matter anymore. She roamed the city at night in search of blood, and found herself indulging in slaughter. Such a monster would shed its skin to reveal its true colors someday, just like this. And yet it laughs. Heartfelt mirth. Heartfelt hatred. As if to scorn the woman who, by the minute, was turning into a hideous monster.
だからそこが違うんだ。いいかい？怪物は本能で物を殺すんじゃない。それは優れた理性で物を殺すんだ。人の手に有り余る性能を総動員して、何の疑いもなく、何の悲しみもなく、身もだえるほどの喜びを持って殺し続けるのが怪物だ。ただなんとなくで人間を殺すだなんて、そんなのは違う生き物なんだよ。
Okay, in your terms, what would it be? Avenger, huh?
あんたはまだどっちにもなれない半端者みたいだけど、同時にどちらにも傾ける猶予がある。
Her intellect wants to just fall into the abyss already, but stubbornly clings to the cliff's edge. Okay. She continues clutching pitifully at the earth, wishing for solid ground.
それは
わからないか？血を求めるあんたと他のものが気になるあんた。それはどちらも真実だ。どっちも否定はできないだろ。欲望に優劣なんざない。どっちが大きいか、どっちが大切なのかはその場その場で変わるものだ。肝心なのはあんたがまだ持っているかどうかの話。
何を？
Empathy? The slightest bit of strength returns to her arm. She summons all her reserves in desperation. It's not enough to pull her out of the abyss. No matter how much she struggles, she'll only disappear at this rate. Laughing, it looks down upon her.
ではと、ライダーのサーバント。あんたはその心に望むものがまだかけらでも残っているか？
I have no desires, but there is something I truly wished for.
あなたはあなたにふさわしい場所に戻りなさい。
That's right. Even if she is still Medusa now, she can't save herself if she's to become a Gorgon soon. From the start, there was never a way to save herself. So she has no desires. No matter how happy days past were. Wait, what? Oh yeah, okay, I see. If she would devour them all eventually, there'd be nothing left in her hands. However, even one such as she can still save someone. A servant is summoned to a master whom its nature is similar. This is all the more so if the summoning catalyst is weak. Because her master had the same fate as her. She was summoned to that girl. A girl fated to turn into a monster. The victims turned aggressors formed a contract in this world as fellow monsters. That's why. She doesn't want her to end up the same. Although she can't change what she is, she can protect the girl who holds the same fate as herself. Her unfulfilled happiness. Her irredeemable sin. How deeply she loved that petty, foolish girl's desperate struggle to put on a brave face. She stares at her hands dumbfounded. She back. Her transformation is halted, and she's fading away as her human self. Because you had something you held dear.
怪物じゃないからだろ。みっともないが、誰かを助けたいという気持ちがあるのなら、あんたはギリギリ人間だ。
She can hear a voice from elsewhere. The speaker is near, but can no longer be seen.
ああ、これで解決しちまったな。あんたの悩みは永遠について回るが、その願いがある限り怪物になることはない。その苦悩と同じように永遠にこちら側に来ることはない。
The presence fades. The shadow gives an all too friendly wave and disappears.
待って。あなたは。
Did she realize who he looked like? Coughing blood, she calls out to the figure.
さすがにしつこいな、ヘビ女。大した生命力だが、今回はおとなしく死んでおけ。で、目が覚めたらマスターに謝っておくといい。ほら、俺が言うのもなんだけどさ、マスターとサーバントは仲良しじゃなくっちゃな。
Snickering, it finally disappears. In the end, she thinks it resembled a young man she knows very well. Indeed.
そうですね。
She heaves a deep sigh. She lowers her clinging arms.
本当、私は。
And this time, her eyes finally close. Relieved that, rather than merely dying, she's recovered her wish, she murmurs.
もうすぐ帰りますから、待っていてください。さくら。
Swearing a promise she could never keep, the beautiful figure vanishes from the earth. Wallpaper added to the special menu. 2 of them. Wait, but... Yeah, that was a really good scene. I'm still... So it's not... I think she probably could have been a caster, because she does teach chakra magic, but that's not what you're talking about. Not Berserker. The only thing I can, like, she can't be an assassin because only that one group of people can be the actual assassins. I doubt she'd be a saber or a maybe a lancer, but I doubt it. Maybe an art. It had to have been Avenger. She could have been an Avenger. It's the only one I can think of. And even then, Avenger's like its own like weird type of class. I don't know. She can't. Okay, yeah. Because it would make sense with her backstory. I thought we had something for, say, maybe it's in the afternoon. Or maybe not on this day.